Hi, it's Nick. I'm making this video for a fella that watches my YouTube channel. His name is Chris, and his YouTube channel name is Chris O Scale. He watched the video which I made showing my two new crossing gates, and he made a comment asking me if I would make a video when I'm ready to wire it to the controller. And this is what I'm doing with this video. I'll explain a little bit about what you see here. This transformer is my auxiliary transformer, and I use this on my layout. So all of my accessories would be tied to the auxiliary switch. And as you see, I have some wires running. And of course, the wires that you see on my workbench, they all would be under my train layout table. But I have a red wire which is tied into the red terminal of the transformer, which is the positive. And then I have a black wire which is tied into the black terminal, which is the neutral of the transformer. And as you can see with the controller, I have some black and red wire and another black wire coming from the control. I'll explain a little bit about this. And then I have the crossing gates. I also have a black and a red, and there's two yellow wires which is tied into this black wire, and I'll explain it all. I'll start with the controller. Now the controller, you can get power two ways. You can get it through the auxiliary switch, which I'm doing. That's why you see this black wire, which is the negative part of the controller, and it's tied to the black negative of the transformer. And then I have a red wire, which is the positive, and as you can see, it's tied to the positive wire, which goes to the transformer. So I'm using the auxiliary power from this auxiliary transformer I have. Now, there's another way you could power this unit, and that's through track power. And these two wires that you see right here, one is a black-white, and one is just black. And the black and white, which has the red terminal, that would go to the track positive, or the middle rail, and then the neutral, or the black right here, would go to the neutral side of the track. Now another thing I want to explain, you have a switch here, and on this side it says auxiliary power, and on this side here it says track power. I'm sure you can't see that in the video, but when you look at the control, you'll see it. And now you have a switch. So now that I'm using the auxiliary power, I have to put this switch towards the auxiliary power, so then this unit will have power to operate these two gates. Now, if I use the track power, I would have to move this switch and press it towards where it says track power, and then this will operate on the track power. Now there's, as you can see on the right side of the controller, you have four connectors. You have a normally closed, normally open, and then you have two accessories. So this side here would be for your accessories, and in this case I'm using the normally open. So when this unit is energized, it will send current through this black wire, and it will feed these two cross gates. Now in front of here it has a sensor beam, and when the train, or in this case the caboose, goes in front of it, it would energize these two, but of course I don't have the power on. And then when I take it away, it would de-energize it, and then the gates would go up. Now on this controller you have two other parts to it. I'm just going to turn it. This cover, under this cover, you have two screws. One screw is for the sensitivity of the unit, and the other one is for the timer, which would be the right one. Now the reason you have this, and I'm sure you realized it, but I'll just mention it in the video, the sensor is to adjust the beam, the distance of the beam. In this case, I have it set so just when the caboose just passes it, it will energize. You could set this sensor so that the beam will go further. So if you had another track here or 3 tracks, which I have on my layout, when a train passes either on this track, the middle track, or the furthest track, the beam, it'll hit the beam, and then it will operate the 2 cross gates. Now the timer, of course, is that when you have a train and your engine passes it, you can set it so that however long your train is, you want it so that these gates will stay down until the last car will pass this, and then it'll de-energize and the gates will go up. So basically this is all that I can explain about the controller. Now we'll go to the cross gates. Now the cross gates have 3 wires. You have a red wire, and right here you have a black wire. I hope you can see that. Yeah, I don't want to get my hands in there, but just so you can see it. Right here, the black one, and you have a yellow wire. Now the red wires from both crossing gates, I tied them together, and I tied it to a red wire which will go down and get power from the auxiliary switch on the positive side. And then all the black wires coming from the crossing gates, I tie those together, and I tie them to another black wire that runs down and ties into the neutral side of the transformer, as you can see right here. Now the yellow wires, I tied those 2 together, but I tie them to this black wire that goes to the normally open contact. Now, as I mentioned, when this car goes by and the beam senses this, it will close the normally open contact and power will run through here, and both of these crossing gates will energize and the gates will go down. Then, as I mentioned, when the last car of the train passes this, the sensor doesn't sense any cars, and it will open this normally open switch and de-energize these crossing gates, and the gates will open. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put power on, and I'm going to demonstrate how it works. I'm putting the power on, and now I'm going to roll the caboose that goes in front of the sensor, and as you could see, the crossing gates operated. Now that'll stay that way until that caboose leaves the beam, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Now the reason it's still on is because of the timer, and as you see, it went off. So that is how I wired the 2 crossing gates to the controller, and I hope this helps you, Chris, when you hook up your 2 crossing gates with this sensor. At this time, I'm going to end the video. Hope everybody has a great day.